Hello, everybody. Welcome to the New Dawn podcast. On today's episode, I originally was going to be talking about Ghost Recon. Now I've postponed that until the 18th, I believe. Yes. So, in honor of me finishing the Clone Wars TV show on Disney Plus, I decided that I would take some time today and just talk about it. I'm gonna do my overall review of it, memorable episodes, my personal history with it, some of my favorite characters, and why I think overall it's a great show. I will be covering Ghost Recon on the 18th. I will be covering the 3 most recent games: Future Soldier, Wildlands, and Breakpoint. And then the following podcast upload after that will be Splinter Cell. And on the 16th, I figured because the Fortnite season would be ending, I figured I'd do one last kind of hoorah about it and talk about it for as long as that podcast episode goes. That one will be on the 16th, the day that the current Fortnite season ends. Yeah, so that's the current schedule. I had to change a couple things around because I finished the Clone Wars tonight and I was not expecting to finish it tonight. So I'm going to take the time to talk about it like I have said. So let's get started. I'm going to start with my personal history on it. So as a kid, I started with the Clone Wars movie. It was not the first Star Wars movie I watched. I did watch it when it came out in theaters. Since then, I would, once the episodes started to, go live, I would watch them. Sometimes I would watch the repeats of them as well. So some of them are more memorable to me in the earlier seasons because at a certain point I stopped watching because most of the friends I hung out with at the time weren't really that interested in it. After a while anyway, I had a couple friends who were interested in it and we would watch it as it would come out, and me and my brothers would watch it. Or me and my brother? It might have just been me and my younger brother, or me and both of my brothers. We would watch it. We watched the first probably season or two, and then, as I got older, I stopped watching it and moved on with the rest of my life. Still liking Star Wars, but that was probably around the time when Star Wars was on the back burner. I was focused more on all the other things I was getting invested in and friends and stuff like that. And then we got Disney Plus about, I don't know, maybe a year ago or so. Maybe a little less than a year ago. I started rewatching all of Star Wars about a year ago. I was getting through all the movies, and then I rewatched the Clone Wars, and at a certain point, it was me watching episodes for the first time, because some of the episodes in the later seasons I had never seen before. I never heard about them before, because my friends wouldn't talk about it, because they never seen it either, I assume. So I was watching things for the first time, experiencing it for the first time, but throughout it, I still loved it. I did not like the episodes where it was a bunch of politics or you could tell the political episodes were like they're filler episodes, right? Or in my opinion anyway. Maybe some people like the political episodes. Sometimes they have a good meaning behind it. But as a fan of Star Wars, and as a person who's liked Star Wars since I was a kid, and as a person who likes the prequels, I think my biggest thing with the prequels, like I said the other day, was the large-scale battles, which they did continue in the Clone Wars, and they did really well at animating those and all of that. But those political episodes, when I'd run into those, usually I would know, because they'd be pretty early on, and I'd stop and I'd take a couple days off, and then I'd come back and watch it, which is why the Clone Wars took me so long to finish. I started this Star Wars rewatching project whatever you want to call it. I started it like probably February, sometime in February maybe. I started watching episode 1. I watched episode 2. And then I started watching the Clone Wars, and that took me a long time. I got through the first season or 2 pretty quickly, but those were the most memorable to me, of course. And I could sit down and watch those because I pretty much knew everything that happened off the back of my head. Since I've seen the episodes for the first time, a lot of the more important things have been, I guess you could say, engraved into my memory. Like Fox. I don't really like Fox. I know he was just doing his job. You can always tell me he was just doing his job, but he could have done it better. I'm just saying. Everyone's doing their job. Some people can just do it better, though. I like Rex. Rex is really cool. He's a very great written character, I think. Even for a clone, a lot of like when you see the movies, the prequels in the movies, and that made no sense. When you see the clones in the prequels, you don't really think of them as having unique personalities or that they're even different from one another. You just assume that they're all exactly the same because they're clones. And we get to see in the Clone Wars how that's not the case. We see that these people are, first off, they're people. And secondly, they are unique from one another. They give each other names after a while. And it is very interesting to see how it all plays out. So I think some of the memorable episodes, I'm going to go... So that's kind of my rough history with it. I've seen the first couple of seasons a bunch. After that, I've only seen it probably a couple times. It is tied to be my favorite show, along with The Mandalorian. The other shows, I like them, right? But in my personal opinion, I don't like them as much as I do the Clone Wars, especially the animated ones like Rebels and Resistance. I definitely don't like them as much as I do the Clone Wars, and mainly because until like a year ago, I had no clue those shows existed. Never heard about them, nothing. I have always known about Clone Wars since it first released. Yeah. Anyways, we're going to move on to memorable episodes. I'm going to pick 3. I'll say an arc. So I'll pick 3 to 5 of my personal favorite arcs. I won't go too much as to why I like them, because I like them all for different reasons. Okay. Let's see. I like before season 7, I will say this before I go on. What I did like about the first 6 seasons is the very first episode is with Yoda, and the very last arc is with Yoda. And I absolutely love that about the show. I think it would have been cool that they added a couple more episodes into season 7, especially since they had all of those ones that were like practically there. They just needed to like do the finishing touches on it. I would have liked to have seen like the Boba Fett Cad Bane fight. If you don't know about these, I believe there is a playlist on YouTube that you can go watch, and it is unfinished Clone Wars episodes that were originally going to be in season 7 before they announced season 7. And there's a storyline where Boba Fett's doing his bounty and Cad Bane's there, and they do a Western style shootout, and because Boba Fett had his helmet on, he lives. Cad Bane did not have a helmet on, and he dies. I would have liked to have seen more like adult Boba Fett, because it would have really shown how long the Clone Wars actually went on for. And we kind of see that in some characters like Admiral Yularen. There was a certain point I was watching this like last week or something like that, and I had seen how much he had changed, and I remembered how he looks the first time we saw Admiral Trench in that fight when they tested out the stealth fighter. And he has his brown hair and all that stuff. And that was one of the last times I remember seeing him, like, vividly. And then I had seen him, it was sometime in season 5 or season 6 we see him. And he started having white hair. And you don't really see much of the other characters change. You see their outfits change, and we don't see, like, a huge change until season 7 with, like, Obi-Wan and Anakin. There's, like, a noticeable difference with them. And, like, Ahsoka's older and all this other stuff. But I would have liked to have seen a character like Boba, who we saw a little bit of early on. He got arrested. We saw him once or something like that after he got arrested, and then maybe once or twice. I don't remember. I would have liked to have seen a more adult Boba Fett. Maybe seeing him be more mature than what we did see. I understand that he was a child, his dad got killed, all this other stuff. But I would have liked to have seen Boba Fett turn into more of this intimidating character than what he was. Not that the Clone Wars did him injustice, because he was just a kid and there was only so much he could do. But I would have liked to have seen an adult Boba Fett. There are some other arcs in those unfinished, in that unfinished playlist that I highly recommend you should go watch. And they're not finished. They're, like I said, it is unfinished, so it's like rough. The voice acting is there and all that stuff, but it is very rough animations. Which, I mean, it's like, if you find that hard to watch, then I wouldn't recommend watching it, but the story is all there. And it's like rough animations. So there's that. Okay. Now we're going to go back to memorable arcs. I liked the arc with Ahsoka, Aayla Secura, Blythe. No, his name's not Blythe. His name is Bly. That was a really good arc. I remember that. That was about the time when I stopped watching it less. I didn't stop watching it overall, because when I would go back and watch it on Disney Plus a year ago and this time, I would remember more from season 2 as well. But I mainly remember a bunch of the ones from season 1. The Fives arc is really good. At the very end of, or in season 6, it's really good. It kind of makes you have more opinions on certain characters, and the show really does, like, change some characters, like, almost entirely. In my opinion, the fact that, like, we saw more Kit Fisto after the Clone Wars, I absolutely love him. His design in the movies is a little lacking, yes, but the Clone Wars did him justice. I like Mace Windu about as much as I liked him before, which is little to none. And it's mainly just because he always comes off as, like, rude or arrogant, I think, maybe. And that might also be because, like, some people theorize that he's, like, the balance, right? Because of his purple saber. He's part of the dark, part of the light. So it could be because of that. I like Yoda more because of the Clone Wars. I liked Yoda before, but the Clone Wars adds on to his character. I always loved Obi-Wan. The Mandalore arc where Maul takes over is a really good one. I really like that arc. What are some other ones? Let's see. You got the Second Battle of Geonosis. That's a really good one. I'm trying to remember everything. The Zillo Beast, that was a sad one. The Ahsoka on the Run arc. It just feeds more into why I don't like Fox. I much prefer Thorn over Fox. Rest in peace, Thorn. Off the top of my head, those are all the ones that I can think of right now. I mean, the very beginning of season 1 with Yoda and the clones, that is a really, really good one. Yeah, I think that's I think those are some of my favorite arcs. There are more. I can't think of any more at the moment, but I like the Bad Batch arc too. At the very beginning of season 1, or not season 1, season 7, the first 4 episodes. Those are probably some of my favorite episodes in season 7. The middle arc, I don't really like that much. It had a lot of we ended it in the same place we started again. Or that happened a bunch in the middle, I think. The Siege of Mandalore. It's another one of those sad arcs. But I don't think it's as sad as like Fives or when Ahsoka left. First off, I made a TikTok about this probably a couple days ago, I think, at the end of season 5, I think it was. When Ahsoka left the temple, Anakin follows her, and then for a brief second, for like a few seconds, we can see Obi-Wan start to follow Anakin, like he's going to go talk to him because he's his brother. I started thinking about how people say the theory of when Obi-Wan says, "You were my brother, Anakin, I loved you," people were saying that was what Ahsoka was going to tell him. But the way I think about it is that was Obi-Wan talking to Anakin, not Obi-Wan giving the message to Anakin. Because the way I think about it, Qui-Gon was like their dad, right? Like a father figure to both of them. So they are the equivalent to brothers in that aspect. Then Obi-Wan trained him, and then they become like really close brothers. So I think in that scene in episode 3 was Obi-Wan talking to Anakin. Although I do like the thought that it could have been Ahsoka's message, but I personally I'd like it more as Obi-Wan talking to Anakin, because throughout the Clone Wars we see them both as getting really closer to, and they're more attached to each other. We see that Jedi aren't supposed to have attachments, but these two have formed that attachment. Not even like in a like I love you as a relationship kind of way. That's Alabama right there. As in it's more of like as a brother, I care about you kind of thing. And that few seconds where Obi-Wan is going to go talk to Anakin, but Plo Koon stops him, because Anakin needs to deal with this on his own. That was the first time I got goosebumps in the entire show, was seeing that Obi-Wan was gonna go help and talk to Anakin, and that really got to me. I was very sad at that point. I was like, Obi-Wan, he's so great. After all he's been through, anyone can ask me, who's my favorite Jedi? And I will always tell you, Obi-Wan will always be my number one. If someone said you cannot have Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon be your number one, I will always pick Obi-Wan. Because he has such this sad story, and it's even more sad because of the Clone Wars, right? So we'll talk about the entire prequel trilogy for a second, including Clone Wars. So we see episode 1. His father figure dies. Qui-Gon Jinn dies. Episode... Nothing really bad happens to him in episode 2. Aside from he got poked in his arm and his leg. Clone Wars, he practically loses the love of his life, who loves him and always will. Very sad. You think that would have turned him to the dark side. It did not. Episode 3, he, first off, loses the entire Jedi Order, ripped away from him. And then not only that, he has to go and fight his brother figure, and he wins, and he has to watch him suffer and supposedly to him die. Or maybe he didn't think he was going to die, but he was on fire. So there was that. But the Clone Wars did a really good job of adding on to sadder stories that were already sad and making them sadder. Like Obi-Wan, for instance, it's shown that he has a love and he cares for Anakin and most of the people in the Order. I say most of because I'm not going to say everyone because I don't know if that's true or not. So yes, Obi-Wan is 100% my favorite character in all of Star Wars. Kit Fisto, I love how they designed him. I loved his attitude, the way everything about him. He's just a great character in the Clone Wars, but they lacked a design in the movies. So it's like, I like Kit Fisto in the Clone Wars and the Clone Wars only. Outside of the Clone Wars, I like him, but not as much as I do in the Clone Wars. Same with most of the other like background Jedi we see, like Plo Koon. They give him more of a story than he had before in the prequel movies as they were. We see other characters like Adigalia. We see other characters like Ki-Adi-Mundi. How many arcs was Ki-Adi-Mundi in? He was a background character for sure, but he at least had a voice more so than the movies. And I mean, he did talk a little bit in the movies, but not as much as he did in the Clone Wars. I like how we see how Anakin and Padme's relationship goes on, and we can kind of see how Obi-Wan's kind of picked up on it. Ayla Sakura, she's great. We don't really need to go too far into that. Ahsoka, she does follow in Anakin's footsteps, I think, except for like near Order 66, I guess, because he the whole deal, right? I like that we kind of see that kind of stuff in the show. I've heard that people say it's a kids show, and to a degree I would agree with that for like the first season or so. And there are some like not harsh, but there are some topics in there that as a child might fly over your head, but as an adult you see, oh, there's more messages in this than yeah. Well, I wanted to talk about something. We're gonna talk. I've heard that people have been cosplaying as Barriss lately. Barriss Offee, if you didn't know, spoiler alert. This should just spoiler alert for this entire thing. She basically betrays the Jedi Order, so sometimes people who cosplay as Barriss get hate comments and stuff like that. I don't think they deserve it. Out of all the characters that they could have picked from, Barriss is an interesting choice, but as a person who wants to cosplay, I could understand, first off, why it would be appealing, and secondly, I do understand that it would be a lot cheaper to do something like that compared to like Ahsoka or Shakti or Ayla Sakura or whatever. It makes sense because all you really need is the hood, right, and the face paint. Anyways, they don't deserve the hate. Anybody should be able to cosplay any character. We don't really see people cosplay Punk Krell though. It was very interesting. I feel like, yeah, that is an interesting statement now that I say it. I wonder why. Do people do that? I'm just now wondering this. I wonder if people actually do that. Anyways, I was talking about characters. Yes, I was talking about characters. I guess I'll start trying to wrap it up here. So I'll do why I think it is great. Is there any other characters I want to talk about? Gree is cool. Bly is cool. Rex is cool. Cody, I kind of like Cody, but like, again, it's kind of within the Clone Wars. I like Cody. Plo Koon, I like Plo Koon. Kit Fisto, he's cool. Yoda's cool. I like Anakin within the Clone Wars. Outside of the Clone Wars, he's not one of my favorites. I like him, but he's not one of my favorites. Yeah, I think that covers it. Of characters that I absolutely love. Is there any more? I think that's it. I like how sometimes when you're at the Jedi Temple, you can see some of those characters that were main characters in an episode. Oh, Ki-Adi-Mundi wasn't. He was in the second battle of Geonosis. That's right. I forgot about that. I like how when you're at the Jedi Temple, you can see characters like Aayla Secura and Luminara all in the background. When like you're following the main Jedi of that episode, you'll probably see them pass by, and you'll see maybe like some 2 or 3 people that you recognize walking together, and you're like, I wonder what they're talking about, or what is going on there. So yeah, I just want to throw that out there real quick. So we'll talk about why I think it is great. People say that it's a children's show. It's not. For the first season or so, like, I could see it, but even in the first couple of seasons, there's topics where it's like, it's a thinker, and as a child, you might not recognize these things. It's kind of like watching movies as an adult. Like, children's movies as an adult are a much different experience than children's movies as a child. And that's kind of what the Clone Wars is for the first couple of seasons anyway. After the first couple of seasons, there is more like sad themes. There's things where it's like, this is more for, I mean, it is like I feel like it's titled a kid's show, but anybody can watch it. You got those sad arcs, you got the interesting arcs where you have to think more to understand it. And that's what I like about the Clone Wars, is that anyone can watch it and everyone can find something to like about it. If you like the large scale battles, you like spec ops operations, you like lightsaber fights, it's got all of those. You like politics, it's in there. They did really good with the animation. Yeah, I think that story is like 90% of the time good. Like I said earlier, the politic episodes, they just throw me off sometimes. I'll sit there and get bored or whatever, but I'll still watch it, right? Because it's a part of the show. I'll sit down and watch it. I think that covers that topic. I'm gonna finish up an overall review. What I think of it. We'll give it a. What should we give it? We'll give it 10 sabers out of 10. General Grievous approves. I kind of wish we had seen more Grievous in season 7, because we got a brief look at him and how they would have designed him. And I honestly would have loved to have seen more of that, which is a shame we didn't. But we did get to see the Bad Batch, and that was nice. And we got to see Maul, which he didn't look too different in my opinion. But I absolutely love it. It's very nostalgic. It's very, like, it's one of those things that I could watch it so many times. Now, I would not get sad every single time I watch it. I hardly ever, like, cry when I watch movies or TV shows. But like I said, with the whole Obi-Wan thing, I got goosebumps. And that is probably one of the few times that I got goosebumps while watching it. Because when I first watched it, I didn't notice Obi-Wan. When I watched it that time, I was more focused on everyone that was like in front, not Ahsoka and Anakin walking away. And I had seen that. And I was like, Whoa. I absolutely love it, though. And I would highly, if you have not seen it, I have talked about a lot of spoilers, but I would highly recommend going to watch it, because watching it is a 100% a different experience than sitting here and listening to me talk about it. And I'm very excited to see the Bad Batch show come out. Supposedly, based on the trailers and stuff we've seen, it's going to start right at Order 66, and then the show will take place after that. So I'm kind of curious as to how it's going to play out. I did post a TikTok, I believe it was today or yesterday, asking people what their favorite Bad Batch person was. Feel free to leave those comments here as well. My favorites are Wrecker and Hunter. Echo's cool and all. I'm not a huge fan of Crosshair. Tech's all right. I honestly feel like this is just going to be like the Star Wars version of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, except they're not ninjas. They're clones that have special abilities. Anyways, that's kind of my overall, that's what I think of Clone Wars. I'll do podcasts for Rebels, Resistance, and Mandalorian as well once I finish those shows. Now I'm on to watch Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, and then I'm watching Solo, I believe, and then I'm watching Rebels, so that'll be, I don't know when I'll finish that. And there's like 4 seasons in it, so I got a little while before that. Yes, I love the Clone Wars, though. I love basically everything about it. Even the political episodes, there's some interest to them. There's some reason to sit down and watch them. Now, I do think the Clone Wars lacks in one place, in the fact that arcs are not back to back to back all of the time. Sometimes they are, especially in the later seasons. But in the early seasons, in the earlier seasons, we see a lot of this episode's in season 1, and then there's a prequel and a sequel to it, like in season 2 or 3. So you already kind of know, like the Cadets episode, you already knew that Cut Up and Droid Bait, they were going to be dead, right? And then we see, we know that Heavy's going to be dead as well, by the end of the Rishi Moon Outpost episode. Then we have the sequel to that, which was that the Citadel? No, there's the Camino, Battle on Camino, and then they Fives and Echo become ARC troopers. So I'm not gonna say too much about the rest of that. I do when they go to the Citadel, though. Look, I'm just gonna be honest. Echo, I don't know what he was thinking there. He just ran to the ship, and the ship blew up. They were going to destroy it either way. Him being on it was not going to change it. Anyways, I don't think that was the right move there. Anyways, but overall, like I've been saying, I absolutely love the show. I would highly recommend it. If you have not seen Star Wars, watching I didn't finish my statement. Basically, one of my few issues with the show is sometimes someone's death can come across as, what's the word? Devalued, I guess. Because you'll see someone die in a season and they might come back in another episode, but chronologically, that episode was probably a prequel to that. I think that's kind of what I was going off on with the Rishi Moon Outpost thing. But what's his name? Anoconda, Padme's uncle. He dies in one of the earlier seasons, but then we see him come back, like in a later season, and it's one of those things where it's like he died. You have to sit, like, the first couple of minutes of seeing him is like he was dead. So when does this take place? So if you really wanted to, there is a list out there that's like, here are the episodes in exact order to watch the Clone Wars. And I would highly recommend, if you're watching everything chronological, front to back, I would do that. The way I'm going about watching Star Wars is I'm watching movies, right, in chronological order, but when I hit a TV show, I'm just watching it as episodes were uploaded. That way I don't really have to keep track. Because that would just be a lot of exiting to the menu and flipping around, and I didn't really want to do that. So I think that's going to be it for today's podcast. It's a little shorter one. I might come back to this subject again someday, just because I love the Clone Wars so much, and as I think of more arcs to talk about and more things to talk about, I will do so. But I hope you enjoyed this podcast. It was a little bit on the shorter side, I guess, compared to some other episodes, I should say. But I wasn't as distracted today, and I got off all the points that I wanted to get off. I absolutely love the show. 10 sabers out of 10. I would highly recommend watching it if you have not seen it. And it is not a kid's show. If you have not seen it, go watch it. Even if you're an adult, I would highly recommend watching it, because people say it might be a children's show. It's not. It's so not. There's so many topics covered, like, oh, there was the slavery arc. Oh, that was a rough one. And then the one right after that was a rough one too. Oh, Chewbacca is in the Clone Wars. Absolutely love that part. I love seeing Chewbacca go ham on a couple of Transoceans. Is that how you say it? He was popping off on him, and I absolutely love that. I love that part. That's the one time we see Chewbacca in the Clone Wars, and that was it. He was gone after that. Huh. I wonder how many other characters like that were like in the background of this show. Huh. Anyways, hope you all enjoyed this. Hope you have a great day, evening, or night. Let me know what you think about the Clone Wars as well. Do you like Commander Fox? Who's your favorite clone commander if it's not Fox? Why do you like Commander Fox? Who's your favorite Jedi? Why is it Ayla Secura? Sorry. I can't be the only one to say that. I'll answer those questions real quick. My favorite clone, probably Rex. Rex, Heavy, Fives, and Echo. Those are probably my favorite clones in the entire show. Waxer, Boyle, Cody, they're all cool as well. Favorite Jedi, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you know it. Obi-Wan, Yoda, those are probably my favorite Jedi. Mace is like cool, but it's one of those things where I like him, but I'm also like, I don't really like him. Like as a fighter, he's really cool. His action scenes are really good. But the way he talks to people is rude. Anyways, hope you enjoyed. Have a great day, evening, or night. Leave your comments as to what you think about the Clone Wars show as well. Expect more podcasts like this as I finish shows and stuff like that. I probably won't do it when I do the movies, because I'm going to turn the movies into lessons for the new Dawn Jedi Order on TikTok. So podcasts will be for the TV shows. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Hope you have a great day, evening, or night. Leave your comments on the Clone Wars. Bye.